Welcome. You're watching Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life, with your host, Danny Pabone and Rifle Scudder.
Congratulations on a record win here at the Allianz. Was that the island that maybe some people doubted wasn't there, but you guys knew it was always there?
Yeah, look, potentially. Sorry, can I just start off by saying I want to congratulate Maro on 100 tests. It's a pretty phenomenal feat, and he's a great bloke and a great player, and I had the privilege of sharing the summer with him, and he's an unbelievable leader and player in person, so I just want to congratulate him first. But
welcome to Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life. As always, I'm joined here by my friend Rifle. Rifle, how are you doing, sir?
Doing very well, thank you, Danny. How about yourself?
Doing well, doing well. In our last episode, we touched upon rounds 3 and 4 of the 2026 Six Nations Series. In this episode, we are going to focus on one game in round 3, which was played between England and Ireland. And let's get right to it. And if you haven't seen our previous episode, please go watch that episode where we cover rounds 2 or 3 of the 2026 Six Nations. So this game was played between England and Ireland, and we had mentioned in our previous episode, Rifle, England's defense was not something to write home about. We had mentioned, I know you had mentioned Eddie Jones was talking about English defense, and he just called, he was saying it was atrocious, pretty much was what he was saying. And we just, in this episode, we just wanted to go over a few things that essentially, let's not beat around the bush, what England did wrong. And unfortunately, there was many things that England did wrong. I remember a couple of episodes ago, we spoke about the basics when we were talking about the Scotland and Italy game. Rifle, you're always talking about in rugby, you have to be good at the basics. And that's pretty much in every sport. If you don't have the basics down, it's going to be very hard to win a game unless you're like the top team in the world and you're playing a team that's ranked 50th in the world. Maybe you could get away with not having the basics down and still come out with the win. But if you're playing a team that has very similar talent and is a powerhouse in the sport, which Ireland is, it's going to be very hard to win a game if you don't have the basics down.
Yeah, there are certain things in a game that you have to control. For example, let's say a big pack of forwards are scrumming against a smaller pack. Let's say, the one team's average is about, say, 100 kilograms, just for argument's sake, and the opponents are only 80 kilograms. So then that the 80 kilogram per player pack, they're going to battle against the bigger guys, and you don't control that. You can't make your scrum better. You're so overpowered that there's nothing you can do about it. But then there's certain things that it doesn't matter what the other team looks like, what their strengths or what their weaknesses are. You've got to do what is in your control to do. You've got to do those right. For example, putting the ball into the line out. It doesn't matter how big the other team's forwards are. If you miss the calls and you overthrow, or you throw in skew, or you miss your player, got nothing to do with the other team. That's 100% on you. Another thing, your kicks. If you kick off, it doesn't matter where the other team stand, how big they are, how fast they are. The ball has to go 10 meters and it has to land within the playing field. If you kick it directly out or you can't kick it 10 meters, that's 100% on you. So these basic things that every team needs to take care of and need to do those things properly, a lot of those things were missing, unfortunately, in the English side on Saturday when they played Ireland. The lineouts we can talk about, Cohen Dickey just not throwing in straight, kicks that forward kick directly out into touch, tackles that you have to make. That's another basic. If you want to win games, your defense must be on par. And their defense was not on par. So just basic rugby 101 things that you got to take control of, that's completely in your control. They just didn't do it. So that definitely came to bite them in the butts at the end of the day, and they got a hiding from Ireland. I think but that was the biggest margin loss for them, and for them, unfortunately, it was at Twickenham, at their home field. And you got Ireland coming off not the best season so far, not the best Six Nations so far, losing a game and coming. They were hungry and they brought out everything they possibly could. And for England, not even to do the basics right, made it so much more difficult for them to be competitive in the game.
Yes. And before we get into the different plays, highlight the different plays that we have here. If I'm not mistaken, this was also Maro Itoje's 100th cap. So he became a Centurion during this game. So, a huge moment in a rugby player's playing career. And if you're new to rugby, a Centurion is you're playing your 100th test match, which is essentially you're playing your 100th game for the national rugby team of your country. That's essentially what a Centurion in the world of rugby is. So to have such a special game when it comes to Maro Itoje, and to have a loss like this, I'm sure this is, I mean, even if it wasn't his Centurion game, he wouldn't want to lose like this. So it's a little extra painful when it's your 100th test match.
Definitely, yeah. And from a South African to Itoje, congratulations. I mean, that's not many players get that privilege and honor, and that's years and years of putting your body on the line for your country. So to Maro Itoje, congratulations. Sorry it ended like that for you, but 100 caps, hats off to you. Well done. That's wonderful. That's such an accomplishment. Doesn't matter who you are. We've had Artie Surveyor last year, had his 100th game. We've had Itoje now. So, I think in the first game, we had 3 Italian guys who played their 50th game for Italy. So the guys are there, but it takes a lot to be able to play 100 games for your country. So congratulations.
Yes. So it's a bittersweet game for Maro Itoje. Definitely is. So we're just going to go through these different plays that we have here. And Rifle, if you could just explain what's going on here. These 2 plays right here, George Ford kicking during this play. So if Rifle, if you could just touch upon what's happening here. So we have a kick. And it goes.
What happens there is Ireland gave away a penalty. So England get the ball. Now in rugby, if you get the ball at a penalty, and if you choose to kick to the line, if you kick the ball out, then wherever the ball goes out, then you can throw the ball in. It's yours to do that. And he just absolutely, completely, didn't kick the ball out. He kicks it to the players. He didn't. And now what happens is, because you have all that pressure that you could have put on your opponents, that pressure now comes back to you, because you basically gave them the ball and an opportunity. The game Monopoly, get out of jail free card. That's what he did. And at that level, we speak about Centurions, George Ford. a centurion. I mean, he's played 100 games, so to make that mistake, and then if you make it once, one can say maybe the wind, maybe, whatever. But then he goes and does it again for the second time. And I was also listening to the commentators at one stage, and they were just baffled by how can this guy do that on such a big stage. But again, just not kicking the ball, into touch where he should, and giving all that energy and giving all that opportunity that was in your hands to use. Because if you look at that picture there, look where the try line is. If the ball goes out there and you have an opportunity to do a line out and then a ruck or a maul after that, man, you're in the pound seats. But to not kick it out and give them the ball and the opportunity to kick it back towards you or kick it out, that's just absolutely rugby 101 mistakes. And that happened, unfortunately, for him twice in the game.
Yes, and this is the other instance that it happened. Let me just press play here. Again, same situation, kick. And this one, I believe, can you explain what happened in this situation?
I don't even think he made the line. Did he not just kick it directly out? I mean, it went over the try line, the
Yes,
dead ball line. It didn't
that's
even
what it
go into
was.
touch. So
Yes.
he didn't even give the players on the other team the opportunity. He just did it himself. They didn't even have to catch the ball or anything. He just kicked it dead. So they just wait for the ball to go dead and say, "Oh, thank you for that, man. That's very kind of you. Take the ball, go all the way back." So just two really, really bad mistakes from a brilliant fly off.
So just to understand, and if anybody's new to this podcast, I'm a American football fanatic, and I've been watching American football for the past 3 years. So I've been learning the rules of rugby for over the past couple of years, and I've learned, I've come to love the game of rugby because of Rifle. He's introduced me to the game of rugby. So you're saying instead of kicking the ball to touch try line, he kicked it directly into the try zone, over the try zone. So
Yes,
that gave
he
the
kicked the
ball
ball
back
dead.
to.
Yes. And then
Okay.
because the ball is dead now, it was your advantage. You kicked the advantage away, and now you gave that whole advantage
Mhm.
that you had. You've just very, very in a friendly manner said to Ireland, okay, I'll give you the ball, I'll give you the kick. All the pressure is off of us here. It's your ball, and now you go.
Wow.
So, one doesn't know, maybe, you could think of it the first time he doesn't kick into touch. So maybe the second time trying to overcorrect, so he makes it, and then one doesn't know, but didn't kick the ball where it should have gone, and then all that pressure, and in both kicks, you can see how close England would have been to the Irish try line if he had kicked the ball
Mm.
out as planned, and England would have had the advantage of throwing the ball in that very next line out. And now all of that is gone. The ball is given to Ireland, and Ireland have now got the ball, and all they have to do is play the basics and kick it back.
Wow. So
So
two.
basically, a 7 point, converted try could be from each one of those two kicks. So one never knows what's going to happen, but in a perfect world, that was 14 points for England.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And then just what happened after these two kicks, where just Ireland just continued to dominate and score. That's definitely Ireland had the momentum in this game from the beginning. If he would have made these two kicks, chances are very high that the momentum could have shifted to England. But because of these two costly errors in the kicking game, the momentum stood with Ireland.
Yeah, and the pressure that England had, momentum is one thing, but if you constantly have to play under that great pressure of just defending, and they're on your
Mm,
line the whole time, the mind sometimes go and you do something silly. So just giving Ireland a bit of a pressure relief,
mm,
taking your foot off the petrol and just, stopping that pressure that you're putting on them, that's a very tough place to be in if you give that away.
yes. Yes, it is. And then continuing, you mentioned this before, Luke Cowan-Dickey, his line-out throws. He was actually replaced at one point of the game as hooker specifically, and it wasn't because he was tired. It was because just wasn't having a great game all around, especially when it came to lineouts. So we have here the first play here. Again, this is a lineout. We have a throw, and there you go. I mean, that's just an Ireland player came up with the ball. And let me just show the second play here as well. Again, another line out throw. And again, an Irish player jumps up and takes the ball away. So yeah, two plays in which Ireland comes up with the ball. It's just another basic of the game, the line out, and England's line out weren't that great in this game as well.
Very much so, because what happens from both those lineouts is it's your ball. So in other words, your back line is ready to attack. You're the attacking team. So you can call a play, you can do something, you can work out a move if you want to do that. And for your back line to be ready to attack. So you all planned your attacking phase, you ready, and all of a sudden everything has to switch. And now you got to go and re-scramble from attack. Now you got to get your defensive line right up. You got to come up in one line for basically going from an attacking position to 100% defense. And then, as we said before, all the pressure that was on Ireland is now completely 100% on England. And that's just, you can't do that over and over again and think that you're going to win good games. So they took Cowan-Dickey off and they brought the other Jamie George on, who captained England last year when Maro didn't. And it's not often that you see a player being pulled in the middle of the game, where there's not an injury or there's not a water break or it's just, hey, you're not doing what you should, or this is not working, come off. There's another coach that I know called Rassie Erasmus who did that as well in the Rugby World Cup last year when he pulled off Marnie Libbok, and the team was just not doing what they were supposed to do and things weren't going the way they wanted to. But one could say in Marnie's, it was the game plan that he wasn't dropping or he wasn't kicking the ball out. Things were just not working. But here, throwing the ball, you see they're overthrowing your players or, getting the calls wrong and then allowing Ireland to steal it. Man, you can't do that. At home, in the Six Nations against a hungry Irish team, it's just gonna bite you.
Yeah. Can't do that at all. Rossi, I'm not familiar with him. I might have to read up on him.
Yeah, well, you're new to the game, so you'll hear his name every now and then.
So, next set of plays here, we spoke about this already. We just wanted to show you a couple of plays here. Again, in the previous episode, I had mentioned that the commentators, and again, I'm quoting here, these are not my words. At one point of the game, one of the commentators said, England's defense today is horrific. Again, that's a quote. I'm not paraphrasing. And they actually said that quite a few times. He didn't use the word horrific every time. But essentially, he said quite a few times England's defense is just bad today. So these two plays right here. So let me just play this play right here. So we have Gibson Park. And look at that. So I just want to, let's freeze it here. And you know what? Let me just make this a little bigger for everyone at home watching. So if we look at this play here, this Irish player has the ball right here. So we have, count with me, Rifle. So how many players English players we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, within a, I would say, fairly close distance of the Irish player. And this is what occurs during this play. Oh, there we go. And the Irish team just continues to push and score a try. So 5, 6 English players close to the Irish player with the ball, and the Irish player just whizzes by like if the defense wasn't even there, pretty much, and is able to score a try. And then the second play wanted to show here is again we have Gibson Park taking the ball out of the ruck, and again rifle. We have the player here, the Irish player here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. A player I believe tripped. So again, we have 6 English players within what I would say 5 meters, 3 to 5 meters of the player with the ball, and again we have the Irish team attacking. He did get tackled, but 2 phases later, the Irish team scores in the corner of the try zone. So, and this is just 2 plays. I could have picked another 4 or 5 plays where Ireland was pushing the ball and England's defense was just non-existent during this game.
Yeah, you've got to make your first time tackles, and so many line breaks that we can see there. Just breaking the defensive line and going through. And once you've gone through so many times, even if you've been tackled, you can still get your arms free. But in this case, they weren't even tackled. They broke the line and they kept on going. So it wasn't even a case of trying to get your hands past the tackle. There was no one holding. They just went completely through. So it makes it so much easier for your other players then to run toward you, to support you. And as you said here, eventually he was tackled, but 2 phases later they scored. So going back to all those tackles missed, it ends up in a try in the corner, and you can't do that.
Yeah. And this is in American football. This is equivalent for you if you're watching this and you're an American football fan. This is equivalent of a running back having like 200 yards in the game because the opponent's defensive line is just bad on the day. So yeah, the running backs, obviously that's an American football position, but if you equate it to the rugby, the running backs in this game were having a field day on England. So yeah, it wasn't good at all. So one more play that we want to cover in this game was the Jameson Gibson Park tap and goal try. And let me just press play here on the play. Okay, so we have a tackle here, a ruckus form. Now, again, if you're new to rugby, a penalty advantage was awarded to Ireland. And the reason why it was awarded to Ireland was because this English player right here came into the ruck from the side. And I remember you telling me, Rifle, if a ruck is formed, the defensive player, if they want to join the ruck, has to come from the back end of the ruck. But this player came from the side, and you can see the referee here. He raised his hand, awarding a penalty advantage to Ireland. And this was a smart play by
Gibson Park.
Gibson Park. I'm sorry, my mind just went blank for a second there. So let me just press play here. So he commits. Oh, okay. Did not want to do that. I apologize, everybody. There we go. So he commits Actually, he does a tap and go. So he gets the ball, tap, and scores a try. Now, we saw a very similar play uh, from South Africa with
when we played
SFM.
France or Wales.
Please
That was
remind.
a Welsh game.
That South Africa was a South Africa against Wales where SF.
Sasha Feinberg, yes.
Yes, I'm not even going to attempt to
Yeah.
his name. I just
Sasha
remember
Feinberg and
SFM.
Tommy
He did a
Green.
very
Yeah.
similar thing where a penalty advantage was awarded to South Africa, and he did a tap a goal because the as you see there, you have to give the player a 10-meter space, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember right. So was that
Correct.
the same situation here where there was a penalty advantage and the English players had to give Gibson Park a 10-meter space? Was it the same situation here?
It's the same situation, but it's if you just look at the tactical viewpoint that Gibson Park is taking here. So if you go back to where he taps the ball, if you can freeze it there, maybe.
Okay.
So he's going to get the penalty now. Okay, stop it there.
Okay.
So now look at number 6, Curry, in the
Mm-hmm.
left corner. And you see he's got his back towards Gibson Park. No, the white 6.
Oh, right here. Okay.
Yes, so he's got his back towards Gibson Park. All the guys that are going to tackle him are on the right of Gibson Park. But can you see between the number 6 that you have your green pointer on and the big next English fellow? Yes, that's a prop. So there is not a huge, but there is a little bit of a gap between that big fellow and number
Mm-hmm.
6. So if Gibson Park taps the ball quickly, there's no ways Itoje and whoever the other guys are going to, because he's going to go and he's going to run to the left to the corner. There's nobody in the corner. There's no one there. So all he has to do is back himself to beat the prop.
Mm.
And 9 times out of 10, the number 9, when he's got the ball with a little bit of a run, is going to outrun the prop who has to try and chase him. And that's exactly what he does. So he sees the gap in the corner and he thinks, if I can just get there, all I have to do is run away from the prop. And he backs himself and there he goes. And watch the prop try and get him, but he's not going to catch him. So that's what happened there. He took the 10, they were probably 10 meters away. There was nothing wrong with that. But he
Okay.
saw in the left corner there was nobody there. There was an open space of field. And he was going to go for that. And there's only one
Gotcha.
player that he had to, pass. And he was thinking, he's not going to catch me. Brilliant vision from Gibson Park there.
So it was a very high IQ play from Gibson Park,
Yes,
just like the SFM play. Very
correct.
similar situations.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Yeah, and I remember watching this play live. Actually, I did not watch it live. I caught the replay. Yeah, I was like, wow, what a score by Gibson Park, and I automatically went back to the SFM score against Wales in the Autumn Nation Series this few months ago. So yeah,
Yes.
great play from him. And the
He had a
last,
brilliant game.
yes, it was. And
He had such a good game.
yes, he was, and he was man of the match during this game. Well deserved. He had
Rightly
an
so.
amazing game.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. And the last play here, if we could just go here, this is Wales again, round 3, Wales and Scotland. Again, this game, rifle was Wales to win. I mean, they really were playing great in the first half.
Look
They
at
had,
halftime score there.
yeah, 17-5. They had
17-5.
Scotland. They had Scotland on the back heels. pretty much most of the first half. They were dominating physically. They were dominating Scotland in the first half, and I remember you saying, the inconsistency of Scotland is the talk of the town over the past couple of years, where they have one great game and the next game they don't look so well. And this is a situation where Scotland, coming off a huge win against England, now playing Wales. Can you imagine if they lose to Wales? And again, this is nothing against Wales. It's nothing against Wales, but let's just, if we're being objective and honest, if Scotland would have lost to Wales, it would have made that whole England game. I was like, okay, what was it for? So yeah, and the play we're about to watch here was the turning point in the second half. And let me just play here. So just to put this play into context for everyone at home, Wales had just kicked a penalty kick. So in other words, they just put 3 more points on the board at this specific moment. Now, what happens in this play is when Finn Russell kicks the ball on the restart, this is what happens. So for those of you at home, if you did not notice what happened, what essentially happened was Wales was walking back into their positions to receive the restart kick. Now, Finn Russell, being a very smart player, saw that they was just walking back, not running back, they were just walking back. So that created a situation where if he made a perfect kick, his teammate could chase the ball and essentially catch the Wales Wales players sleeping, chase the ball, grab it, and score a try. And that's exactly what happened. Wales team players were not paying attention. They were walking back to receive the ball. Finn Russell saw that, took advantage, kicked a perfect kick, and put it in a spot where his teammate could chase it down. And you saw, if just running the play again, you saw the result of this. Scotland scores a try, and this is, pretty much was the turning point of the game, because this brought them to within, I believe, 4 points. It was 23-19. And the momentum shift after this play obviously just shifted to Scotland at this point.
Very much so. You can see Zamet there, number 15, the fullback. He's actually the guy, I don't know if you know, but he's the one that was coming over to America to play American football, and he was with the Chiefs for a while, and then they cut him. He's number 15. Brilliant player. I mean, the speed on that guy is amazing. He was the youngest guy, I believe, for Wales to be picked at 19 to play for the national team and so on. So he's British and Irish line. He's great. But you can see him chasing the ball, and when they score, putting his hand, if you play it again, he's got his hands in the air like, what are we doing? Why are you guys not looking at the ball? But unfortunately, then it was a little bit too late, because
you can see him right here.
Yeah, that's him. So he's like, well, what are we? So, and then obviously the 12 points, there's 23-12. So they're still quite a little bit behind, definitely 2 scores they got to make. And they score that try, kick it over, and, the rest is history.
Yeah. And this this is another part of the game where especially in the game of rugby, other sports, basketball, football, I should say American sports, you have timeouts, you have, commercial breaks where teams, obviously stoppage of play. You can get together and strategize the next play and everything like that. In rugby, that's not the situation. You can't call timeout, or for example, in football kickoff, a team scores You know, both teams have to be set before the team that's kicking the ball can kick the ball. That's a rule in football. You know, you have the team kicking the ball, you have the team receiving. Both teams have to be set before the kick could be, the restart of the game. In rugby, it's a little different. If your opponent is not set and you kick the ball, that's on them. You're not gonna get penalized. It's not a penalty. It's not breaking the law. If you're not paying attention and set, situation like that is going to occur, and that was a smart play by Finn Russell.
Very much so, and good for him to see that. Not many people, number one, might have picked that up, and then number two, maybe not have the courage to back themselves to kick that ball in that spot so your teammate can pick it up and go. But that's what makes Finn Russell so good. He sees that, he backs himself, he's got the experience, he's got all the confidence in the world to do that. He goes for it, and as you said, that was a turnaround of the game because they came back from that and they won it.
Yes. Yeah. And it's probably, I don't know, maybe the try, if I don't remember, is there like a try? They pick a player of Six Nations, I know last year it was LBB. I wonder, is there a try of Six Nations?
Now there
Do
must
you
be.
know?
I'm guessing so. They'll have player, best
Okay.
pick, best try. I'm guessing
Well,
they'll
I
just
pick
put
I
something
picked
like
this
that in there.
play as a contender for the best try of Six Nations.
So far, yeah, definitely. We've got 2 more weeks to come, so maybe
Yes.
we'll see some better tries. Who knows?
Yes. So this is at the very least this would be a contender.
Yes,
In my humble opinion. So with that, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode focusing specifically on the round three game of the 2026 Six Nations that took place between England and Ireland. What a huge win for Ireland. And again, congratulations, Mario Toje, for your 100th cap. Unfortunately, it was not a win, but a loss. But that's the game of rugby, and it's such a great game. So with that, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Rifle, thank you as always for
you're
explaining the
welcome.
game of rugby to me and to the audience, because again, rugby is such a great, and I've said this many times and I'll continue to say it. If you're an American football fan, give rugby a chance. I started watching rugby a couple of years ago and I've fallen in love with the game. There's very many similarities between American football and rugby. So yeah, I truly enjoy the game. So with that, everyone, until next time, take care.
Here's everyone.
Thank you for watching this episode of Rugby with Rifle. Remember to press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet to support this podcast.